In the next few sections, we're going to talk about prospecting. Obviously, this is one of the most important things in a sales career is how you're going to go about prospecting. I'm going to cover, first off, two important parts of prospecting. We're going to talk about cold calling techniques, and we're going to talk about walking into a business for the first time. In this business, you can choose two different ways of prospecting, and I encourage you to look at your own strengths and abilities as well as your background to see which of these two strategies would be most effective for you. The first one we're going to talk about is cold calling. In a cold calling strategy, you're going to call through a list of businesses and generate appointments for yourself. Then, in the second strategy, we'll talk about walking into a business for the first time cold turkey. In this strategy, rather than calling the businesses, you're going to walk into each business and ask for the owner at the business rather than over the phone. In either case, let me encourage you to understand something essential in this business. Your goal is to meet with the business owner face to face. That is your goal. Whether you're on the phone or whether you whether you walk into the business, your goal is to meet the business owner face to face. That is the first step in the sales process. Everything must lead to that step. So when you're on the phone, if you get a customer on the phone and they say, "Oh, let me put the owner on," do not resist the urge to pitch the business owner over the phone. I promise you your closing ratio will be not even close to what it would be in person. If you get the business owner on the phone, "Hey, my name is James Shepard. I just wanted to speak with you face to face. Could I swing by your place of business tomorrow?" And we'll talk about specific scripts that you can use, but the idea is get face to face with the business owner. If you walk in and someone is there that's not the decision maker, find out what the decision maker's name is and come back when they will be there. Okay, let's get right into it. Cold calling techniques. Now, when you do cold calling, there's a couple things you need to understand as kind of an overview. Number one, your goal is to get in front of a prospect face to face. So don't be too picky about how solid the lead is that you make for yourself over the phone. You do not need to speak directly to the decision maker in order to schedule an appointment. Let me repeat that. You do not need to speak directly with the decision maker in order to schedule an appointment. Using the script, if you call that business and use an opening line from the script and you get someone who is not the business owner, you ask, "Just wondering who you're using for your credit card processing." Again, look at the script and you'll see the script there, but the last line is pretty much always, "So who are you using for your credit card processing services?" Most of the time, the person will say, "I really don't know. The owner is not here right now, and the person who handles it is not here. You'd have to call back another time." The only information that you need in order to schedule an appointment is the decision maker's name and the time when the decision maker will be available. Let me repeat that. The only information that you need to schedule an appointment is the name of the decision maker and a time when the decision maker may be available. So if I get someone on the phone that is not the decision maker and they say the decision maker is not here right now, my goal is to find out the name of the decision maker and a time when they may be in. So they'll say, "You need to call back another time." I'll say, "Sure. You know what? I'm actually going to be out in the area tomorrow. Perhaps I'll just swing by there sometime in the afternoon. Are they normally in around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon?" If they say yes, then I plan to meet them at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. If they say no, I'll say, "When is the best time to find them at the place of business?" And they say, "Well, they're normally available in the morning." Okay, great. I will be in there on Friday morning to follow up with Bob or whoever. Okay? Also, you want to get their name, so you want to make sure you ask, "Who should I ask for when I stop by?" You should ask for Bob. You should ask for Susie. Whoever it is, write that down. Write down the time the decision maker will be there. Okay? Next, you do not want a non-decision maker to set a solid appointment for a decision maker. You do not want a non-decision maker to set a solid appointment for a decision maker. In other words, you talk to an employee. You do not want them to write down detailed notes and to say, oh, yeah, you know what I'll do? I'll let Bob know that you called. I'll have him be ready to meet you on Friday at 9 o'clock in the morning. If you do that, you are really shooting yourself in the foot, because when you walk in, Bob will already know that a salesperson is coming at 9, and he will be ready to reject you. That is not what you want to do. In this industry, it is best to just get the name of the person, find out when they're going to be available, and then walk right into the business and say, yes, are you Bob? Hi, Bob. I spoke to Susie on the phone. She said you might be in here this morning, and I thought I'd stop by. And then you go into your presentation just as if you were walking into a business for the first time. So the main benefit of the cold calling strategy is really twofold. Number one, you weed out certain business owners that will not be interested. And that is a big benefit. Many times you'll get the decision maker on the phone and they'll immediately say, my uncle does the credit card processing, my friend does it, my bank does it, and they provide me a very low rate. I have no interest whatsoever in meeting with you. And you might try a few objection rebuttals that I'll have in the script, and it may not work, and you might be able to weed that person out. The other big benefit is that it makes your time in the field more efficient, because when you get out in the field, you go from one to the next, and you have a good general idea of who is going to be in the business and when they will be there. So it can make your time in the field more efficient. The problems with cold calling: number one, it spreads your appointments out a lot farther. It's a numbers game. You call 100 people, you're probably only going to set 10 to 15 appointments for yourself. And if you do that, then that means you're going to be driving farther to each appointment, and it means that you're not going to be able to walk into as many businesses as you would if you were just walking into every single business. So cold calling has advantages, but it also has disadvantages. If you use the cold calling strategy, first of all, I would not encourage you to use it unless you feel like you have very good phone skills. And if you have very good phone skills, that's great, but remember the important things we talked about. Number one, you do not need to speak to the decision maker in order to schedule an appointment. You do not want a non-decision maker setting a solid appointment for a decision maker. And you do not want to pitch a decision maker over the phone. So you want to make sure that you are ready to accomplish those three, you understand those three things before you get into the cold calling. And then you can use the cold calling as a great tool to make your time in the field more efficient.